What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr Wargames, and today I'm going to bring you a test hand combo video for, of course, the Sacred Beast Dogmatika deck that I showed you guys the other day. Now, a lot of people kind of ask what this deck can do. Now, we know the standard combo for the Sacred Beast can lead you into 2 of the Sacred Beast monsters, and then we know what the Dogmatika package offers. Now, what I'm going to be doing with this particular build is, rather than showing you exact combos, because there are loads of videos out there, I'm going to show you the consistency of this particular build. Now, the idea is that you're going to either set yourself up with Sacred Beasts and then hit them with a Winder, or you're going to be able to set yourself up that you don't need the extra deck the following turn, lock them out from all the Winder, use a punishment to deal with them, and then be able to build your board of Sacred Beasts, being able to attack for game and kind of go from there. With all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you do not miss out on any more upcoming content. With all of that out of the way, we're going to shuffle this deck up and we're going to do 2 test downs going first, 2 test downs going second, and see what this deck can do. So after a very decent shuffle and a good old cut, our opening test hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, that's not a bad hand. We do get the ability of unlocking the full double Sacred Beast play, which is right here. And then we're going to get Fallen Paradise to draw 2, and we've got a Lure to draw 2. So this is actually a really good hand for Sacred Beast in general. So what you want to do here is you want to activate, I'm going to move these out of the way, and we've got Skill Drain, which will be very useful later on. So with these 2 cards here, you want to decide which one you want to. If you're fearful of the hand traps, then of course you can try and bait it around. I would probably rather this get hand trapped than this, because it gives you an additional normal summon. So you've kind of got to figure out the play and route that you want to go for. So what we're going to do is I would go opening the Spirit Gates just because I think it's less risky. I still got more plays to make if this does get ashed. This one's going to search us out, our Chaos Summoning Beast. You're going to normal summon the Dark Beckoning Beast, use this effect to search you a card that lists, or one of them that is Hamon, and we're going to go with the Dark Summoning Beast. Off the back of this, using the Dark Beckoning Beast effect for an additional normal summon, you're going to go into your Chaos Summoning Beast. Now, you do have the ability here, if you wanted to tribute off said beast to bring down your Uriah. It's not going to be incredibly powerful right now, and it's not going to be of massive use for you right now, for that pure factor that it is Uriah. If you had any other Sacred Beast, you'd be in a much better position. So it's entirely up to you on where you'd want to go from here on that particular route of play. Regardless, you still have the ability of linking off your Dark Beckoning and going into your Almirage. In case you draw into another Sacred Beast, this would still be very relevant for you. Then what you're going to do here is you're then going to go into use the effect of the opening of the Spirit Gates to discard the Dark Summoning Beast. As long as you've got a target in the grave, which will be your Dark Beckoning Beast, you can revive the Dark Summoning Beast. What this is going to allow you to do is tribute himself off to special summon from the deck one of the Sacred Beasts. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because without Fallen Paradise, or without this in the graveyard, you're going to be in a little bit of a sticky situation. You can risk it and put Hamon in attack mode, hoping that you're going to draw into a Cerulean Skyfire as an additional layer of protection. But ultimately, I'm just going to put it in defense, which means my opponent cannot attack any of my monsters apart from Hamon, which is really important. And then I do plan to get to the field spell Fallen Paradise, and considering I've got the Awakening of the Sacred Beast, it's probably more in my interest to tribute this off. I do have the ability, should I want to banish the Dark Summoning Beast from the graveyard to give me another monster. Now, I think the safest route right now would be to get into a second, where are we? A second Hamon, because what we're going to do here is we're going to tribute the Chaos Summoning Beast, special summon down Hamon. My opponent can now not attack me because I've got both of these in defense. And by doing so, I can then banish the Chaos Summoning Beast, bring out, or search out Fallen Paradise. Activate the Fallen Paradise. I control 2 Sacred Beasts. The only reason that you would want to have a different Sacred Beast on the board would be Awakening of the Sacred Beast would then become a skill drain. So it's entirely up to you whether you want your opponent to have the Battle Lock or whether you want the skill drain. So we're going to shuffle this up. We're going to draw 2. Hopefully we either get to a Dark or we get to the Dogmatika package. All the time, every time. if I put these in attack, I'll never see this. If I put it in like defense, every time, like 100% of the time, always see it. Now we don't mind Yugioh being in the graveyard, so you can pretty much set everything you have here and then risk the Allure of Darkness. So Dark Magician and Destiny Fusion. So that goes. That's actually good for the follow-up play next turn. And now it's entirely up to you on where you want to go. We've lost the Dark Magician, so ideally what you could have done is Almirage, Hamon, Vertage, Dragoon, you name it, you've got it. But with this, again, we're actually still got a really good hand. So we've got these all set. You've got the Fusion, you've got Yugioh in hand. You can pass your opponent. Now, your opponent cannot target these with card effects. They can't be destroyed by card effects. You're going to activate this. So every time your opponent normal or specials, you gain life points equal to that monster's attack. And we'll kind of play through this scenario. So for our opponent to break this board, they've got to get rid of Fallen Paradise. They've then got to get rid of one of these by targeting or destroying it because they can't attack it. And then if it can only be destroyed, you can Almirage it. So you've got a lot of plays following up from there, and you're just going to constantly gain life points. Now, drawing a card, it doesn't really matter what it is. You've still got Opening the Spirit Gates to search. If you're fearful, you can put one of these into attack and activate the Cerulean Skyfire, meaning you can negate a spell or trap. You then use Fallen Paradise to draw 2 more. There we go. And at the base minimum, I mean, let's be honest, guys. Switch 8k on board. If they've got more monsters or anything like that, you overlay these into Gustav Max and then go into Labelle and kind of play it from there. You've still got a Dimension Fusion, you've still got Dark Beckoning, you've still got ways of getting to your other monsters. So yeah, you've got a lot of plays there. The only thing this didn't show, which would have been nice, is if we drew into the Dogmatika package, because then that really would have just gone wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, pretty much game over. So again, after another shuffle, we'll go for a test hand number 2 to kind of show you what you've got there. But you can see that the standard combo is ideally Dark Beckoning and either Chaos Summoning Beast, or the Opening the Spirit Gates gives you 2 Sacred Beast monsters, and that leads you either into an attack lock. If you get the Skill Drain trap card, it leads you into a Skill Drain and life point gainer, and kind of move it from there. So over another decent shuffle and a good old cut. Our second test hand going first will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it is what it is. You've got a couple of options here. Nadir straight away, even without the Sacred Beast engine, is going to give you a window lock, but you've got a lot of risky cards here. Ideally, you can set everything. So your 2 options here right now is activate Red Eyes Fusion. It gets ashed. You activate Talents. You draw 2 cards, but that's pretty much your end of the turn because you can't summon. Now, ultimately, I would sack the Red Eyes Fusion off. I wouldn't even consider it to be useful to me right now. I'm going to activate Allure. We're going to risk it for the biscuit because we still got Nadir. Nadir is still going to give us plays. So, Cool Buy and a Chaos Summoning Beast. Cool, great. Banish the Chaos Summoning Beast, set the Cool Buy, and then you're just going to have to go Nadir. At this point, if they do Ash you and Nadir, you're then going to go for the luck of the talents. So let's say we activate Nadir. If we did go talents, what would we get? Schism and Hamon, so that's not going to be helpful for us anyway. You could hold this as well, I suppose, to be a bit protected. Would make more sense. So often the Dear Servant, what you want to send first, it depends on where you want to go with this and how defensive or how aggressive you want to be. Now, unfortunately, we don't have another Dark in the graveyard, so we can't just go Ecclesia pass in a sense. So what we want to do here is you actually want to send your App Cologne. I suppose this is where you're going to need to discard the Call by the Grave. That's the shit. No, you don't. It's fine. So discard the App Cologne. That will then allow you to search out your Ecclesia. Your App Cologne will then go off to let you search out your Schism. You then discard the Schism off of App Cologne because it is a mandatory effect. And unfortunately, because we didn't get into any of the Sacred Beasts, we are going to have to normal summon the Ecclesia. Use this effect, but this just shows you that with a brick hand, you can still make incredible plays. And then you hold on to this for the next turn and you're good to rock and roll. Ecclesia's effect, I would actually go for Maximus. It is your most effective play right now. I think everything else is lackluster and won't really get you far. So you use Maximus' effect to banish said App Cologne, and then that is going to allow you to trigger its effect to send 2, or you can now decide to send 2. The 2 that I would personally send would be Titaniclad, and you need to send Construct. So Send Titaniclad and Construct. Construct's effect will go off to give you the Schism back to your hand, and then the Titaniclad will let you in the end phase search out or special summon a Dogmatika. So you're going to set your Schism, you're going to pass your turn. In the end phase, you're going to search yourself out a, wherever he is, Philidius, or wherever she is. And what you've kind of got here now is, if your opponent can't clear your back row, you're going to Red Eyes Fusion them for game next turn anyway. But what you kind of have playing for your opponent's turn, for those of you that don't know how the Dogmatika package works, is at a particular point, so you kind of want to make sure that your opponent puts a monster on the board or a card on the board so they can't imperm it. You're going to activate the Schism. If your opponent's playing Darks as well, it'll actually hold the Schism until they put a monster on board. You're going to banish the Titaniclad and the Construct, and that's going to allow you to special summon out the window. That then means your opponent can only special summon once, and so can you, but your Schism will then, if they've got a Dark monster, send that monster to the graveyard. If at any point Winder is threatened, you can use your special summon to special summon down Philidius and negate. Following this particular route of play, if they cannot break this, like let's say, I don't know, they've got Harpy's Feather Duster and they just clear this off. Let's get rid of that worst case scenario. They still can't get rid of Winder, which is going to cause them a lot of issues. You draw for turn, you don't have a Red Eyes Fusion, which is absolutely fine. You switch this to attack. Philidius goes to declare an attack, makes it 3k, 2k, 2k. So straight away you've burnt your opponent down to 7,000, to 1,000 life points. Winder can't attack directly, or I believe it might be able to now that Schism's gone, but I'm not too clear on that ruling. If it can, great, that's game. If not, you've still boosted all of these. You can still use Maximus's effect, and you can send stuff like Natis, and of course your Predaplant Chimera Flesia, which will search you out the Sacred Beast fusion card as well. So you can kind of see different scenarios. Like if they didn't blow out the back row, that's Red Eyes, Dark Dragoon, that's game. And if they did, you know, it is what it is. So now let's go for a test and go in second. Let's show the aggression that this engine and in general this deck can bring through. So after another decent shuffle and a good old cut, our opening hand of 6 this time will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very interesting. I don't know, like Uriah's at 1 and I see it in my hand all the blooming time. Like it's mad. I mean, you've got a couple of plays, very simple plays, but you've got a couple of plays. Annoyingly, you're going to need to sack off. You're going to need to normal summon the Chaos Sacred Beast. This one's the most annoying because it doesn't actually do a lot on its own. So what you're going to have to do here is you tribute this off to special summon down Uriah. You're not going to want it in attack because it's just 0. You could then try and bait out to banish this, to search out Fallen Paradise. Even though you've already got one, but it's just a bait out and a deck thin. You're going to activate said Fallen Paradise to protect your 0 defense Uriah. Woohoo! You're going to activate this, use the effect to draw 2, and hopefully it unlocks your play. Okay. Really? Like, really? What are you doing here? And then annoyingly, because you've drawn, you can't even use this. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a brick hand. I can't believe I just saw all 3 Chaos Summoning Beast and Uriah. Like, bro, what are you doing? And I mean, that is the risk you take by running Uriah, because the only reason that you're using it is to be able to make the fusions. So it is a card arguably you could consider cutting massively and kind of going from there. Prosperity is another interesting one that I've considered cutting again, just because it clashes with the Fallen Paradise, but it's just another option to help unlock you full combo. So you're kind of sacrificing that future ability to draw 2 to unlock the consistency of the deck. Anyway, let's redo that test hand. You know, it's always fair to show you the good hands and the bad hands, of course. So it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, like again, why are you in my hand? Go away. Jeez, bro. Fine. So this is a perfect example of how Prosperity can now unlock your hand a little bit more, because at the moment we've got a normal summon Ecclesia and go Dogmatika plays, but the Prosperity may now allow us to unlock. Now you're definitely going to go for 6. It doesn't really matter what 6 you do, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. 2, 4. I'm going to be doing half damage anyway, so 6. Stuff like Chimera Flesia, if you've got Verte plays or anything like that, is what you'd want to get rid of. So 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, my opponent's probably going to be a little bit scared that I'm going to choose to go for Red Ice Fusion. That would be really funny because that'll probably get me game on its own. But we're going to go the long route. We'll go with opening of the Spirit Gates. We'll activate opening of the Spirit Gates, and we will get ourselves... this is where it's a bit tricky. Dark Beckoning, normal the Dark Beckoning, give yourself the Dark Summoning. Now keep in mind, when you use Dark Summoning's effect to special summon a Sacred Beast from the deck, I believe it locks you out for the rest of the turn. So if you do everything before that, you can use this last minute, and to be fair, that's absolutely fine to leave it a little bit later. So what we want to do here is you want to turn your Dark Beckoning Beast into Almirage, because then what that's going to unlock is it unlocks the ability for the Dark Summoning Beast. It also unlocks the ability of your Ecclesia. So special summon down Ecclesia, use its effect to search. In this particular scenario, because you're going to be able to set yourself up with a Sacred Beast, which will be Hamon to protect attacks, I would in fact actually use Ecclesia to go for a punishment in this scenario. You still also have Nadir's Servant, which will give you a Philidius as well. Not that you need it right now, this exact moment, but what you do need Nadir to do is put an extra deck in the grave. So unless you're going to trigger the Almirage to protect, which I would honestly hold it, you activate the Nadir, there's no reason not to. And the best thing is you can send a Natis, pop a card, search you out Philidius, wherever she may be. There we go. And keep in mind you can special summon Philidius this turn as well, so you're still going to be able to get plays from this. Banish the Natis, summon down Maximus. Use Maximus's effect to send a Apkallone, because if you don't OTK this turn, you still need the setups of that. And then a Natis, if you haven't already used one, and I'm pretty sure I chose to banish one. So, but second Natis, if you think that far ahead, pop a card, and Apkallone will give you a search, which will give you Schism. You're then going to ditch the Uriah, because you don't want it in your hand, to keep the Schism. And then what you want to do here is you'd go main phase, special this down because there's a monster special from the extra deck. Attack, 3k, 2k, 2k. Do half damage because obviously you use Prosperity. Main phase 2, activate the Fallen Paradise because it's going to protect the Hamon we're going to put onto the board. Use the effect of opening the Spirit Gates to discard and then summon itself back. Then use its effect to tribute itself. For the rest of this turn they can't attack. And go into a defensive Hamon, which means your opponent cannot attack any of these without going through Hamon first. Now, obviously, if they got Dragoon, then you cry a little bit, but that's where Schism and Punishment come into play as well. Now, you can banish the Dark Beckoning just to give you a search. As long as you leave a Dark in the grave, you're absolutely fine. And this will give us... Let's go Aggression for the next turn. Raviel. There we go. And then if we end up getting a Fusion spell, we're set good to go. So we'll be saying to send the Tis and Apkallone. So you're going to set these two, you're going to pass your turn. Now ultimately from here your opponent does not break this board. As long as you activate Schism before you use Punishment, you're then going to banish your Apkallone and the Dark Beckoning Beast from the graveyard, 2 Darks. And you're going to summon out your Winder. Still with your special summon should you need it. Schism's still there, send the Dark if they've got it. And then activate Punishment. Punishment, unfortunately, isn't going to be able to send the Tis, but you can send a 5-headed dragon to guarantee you're going to pop a card. And then you don't need to go into your extra deck the next turn. Like, you're completely fine. Hamon goes to attack. Wham, bam. Thank you, man. That's game. So yeah, we weren't able to OTK the first turn purely because we used Prosperity, but we kind of needed to unlock the hand, and you're still going to get draws off of the Paradise as well during the next turn. Obviously, you can't do it that turn because you activated Prosperity. Okay, let's do our final test stand, go in second, and see if we can repeat the feat a little bit better. So after another decent shuffle, and our final cut, please don't have a Uriah in hand. Our opening hand will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not Uriah, and it is full Sacred Beast combo, so I'm quite happy with that. Activate opening the Spirit Gates, give yourself a search. For this one, you want to search your Chaos Summoning Beast. Now, again, a couple of routes on this one that they can't attack. Now, I believe it's you can't attack. Well, Also, monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of this turn once you use Dark Summoning Beast's effect. So, normal summon and beckoning. Beckoning's effect can go off to let you search out one of your sacred beasts. So we can go for Reveal. This is only because we're going aggression. Actually, let's go safer, just to be protective. Let's go Hamon because we've got the Cerulean Skyfire. And the only reason you're searching Hamon is because you've got the other pieces. So, additional normal of Chaos Summoning Beast. Chaos Summoning Beast's effect, Tribute, bring down Hamon. Obviously, you want to probably activate Cerulean Skyfire before you do that. Banish this to search you out the Fallen Paradise, wherever it may be. Activate said Fallen Paradise, shuffle up, because you're going to draw 2. Draw 2, broken. Yeah, this point on is pretty much game. You could link these into Verte and Anaconda, do your thing there, but what we're probably going to want to do is you're going to want to turn your Dark Beckoning Beast into your Almirage, and I'll show you another little tech that you can play around with at this moment in time as well. So you've got 2 options here, and 2 options can lead you to game. So route 1 is you just attack with Hamon. Attack with Hamon, main phase 2, activate Dark Summoning, bring out any of the Sacred Beasts, overlay them into Gustav Max and burn for 2k. So you've got to make sure you can get 6k's worth of damage on board. Option number 2 is you activate Nadir Servant, and this is where you stop yourself going into the extra deck. Your Nadir Servant will send a Natis, because you're going to clear cards off. This will guarantee you game, I believe. Send a Natis, pop a card, search you out an Ecclesia. Special summon said Ecclesia. Use her effect because you've already got Maximus to search out a Philelius. Then banish said Natis in the graveyard. Summon down Maximus. Use Maximus's effect. Obviously, you don't need to use Maximus's effect if you're worried about back row. Now, I'm going for aggression, so I'm going to send a second Natis. And, I mean, you could send App Cologne if you really want to get the card in play, which is absolutely fine. Doesn't really matter. But I would only go for this if you don't think you're going to have game, which I personally think we will. That means Fallen Paradise is going to the graveyard. You're then going to special summon down Philelius, and you're going to go into battle phase. Now, you've popped 2 cards off of 2 Natises. Ecclesia will swing for 2k thanks to Philelius. 2k for Maximus, 4k Hamon, 3k there. If Hamon has negated something, it shifts to defense anyway. And then in main phase 2, if you haven't been able to OTK, use Dark Summoning Beast or the effect through the gate, ditch this, bring it back, tribute it off, bring out any of your Sacred Beasts. Let's actually make use of Uriah right now. Hamon can obviously protect and do the battle lock. Bring these out, overlay these. Oh no, sorry, you can't do that because you're in on the thing. Ignore that. You just bring out a second Hamon. Bring out a second Hamon. But I think you should be OTKing at this point anyway. It should be game, set, and match. Bring out a second Hamon. Put it in attack, I suppose. Because then what it means is during your opponent's turn, if they activate a spell trap, Skyfire to negate, and then your opponent can't attack you until they get rid of Fallen Paradise. And then subsequently, these cards here, not to mention you're going to be sitting on a Schism and a Punishment. So then what you want to do is you want to trigger your Almirage early, protect any of these cards, and then that unlocks a zone for your Schism. So you're in a very good position. Anyway, I hope you like this test stand video. I really enjoy this deck. I think it's incredibly fun. And I think the Dogmatika has really, really helped take it up a notch, which is incredibly important for a deck like this. So, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. If you want to see a very specific combo test stand or combo for this particular deck, then let me know and I'll be more than happy to do that. But as absolutely always, guys, stay safe and of course, happy dueling.